Indeed, it's great honor for me to introduce our alumni, Commander Sub Shalab Saxena sir. So before moving ahead, let me give you chronology for today's session. So first of all, there will be guests will share his talk. After that, there will be a interview question. After that, there will be audience Q&A and faculty interaction. And at last, there will be a vote of thanks. Am I audible, sir, properly?
Yes, yes.
You are perfectly audible. No issue.
Okay, okay. Thank you. So first of all, I would like to say thank you to our principal, Dr. ATPC sir, TPO head, Dr. Anil Acharya sir, team and for faculty for constant support and guidance. So talking about sir is a ex-Indian Navy retired commander, Shalab Saxena sir. He joined GCK at August 1981. So he presently working as a GM India for Aerospace Logistics Limited, UK, India office. So for last 10 years, in Indian Navy, he did marine engineer followed by aeronautical engineering. Not only that, but also served quality assurance service course on board Indian naval ship Vikrant Virat as uh, as a air engineer officer of INAS 300 and also the chief engineer officer in the Indian naval ship Jamuna and Tir. So he also did station air engineer officers of the biggest air station, INS Hansa at Goa, controller quality assurance, fixed wing aircraft at Naval Aeronautical Quality Assurance Service, and also joint director at the Indian Naval Headquarters Aircraft Acquisition. Really, it's great honor for all of us. We have such a great experienced person, a highly experienced person as our alumni for today's session. So yes, time, we all know time does not stop for anyone and it takes a lot from uh, your busy schedule. And to be here for that, I would like to say thank you for giving, thank you to sir for giving your precious time for all of us. Yes, and I am sure this session is the ocean of opportunity for all burning desires who want to join who want to serve the nation. So, as topic for today's session is join Indian Armed Forces to serve the nation. So now I would like to request Shalab Saxena sir, please now over to you. You can start your talk.
Thank you, Arpita. Thank you, Acharya sir. It's a great honor to get associated with College of Engineering Karad for me at and I have got such great memories of this. My journey began. See, as a school student, I was student of Kendriya Vidyalaya Bhandara, and I think the foundation towards the armed forces started over there because in the school library I used to pick up the books of our great war heroes. I remember during 1971 war, I was maybe around 7 8 years old boy, and used to hear those days there was no TV on the radio. We used to hear the news in fact, my father was also in defense. So in front of our house, there was a trench. You must have seen in the movies, no, where the soldiers go and jump and get hide themselves. So it was such type of trench which was dug in front of our house. So the journey started actually right from that time. Then I used to read all these books of great soldiers like Paramveer Chakra, Abdul Hamid, Brigadier Hoshiar Singh. That made an inclination towards the armed forces per se. But in class 10th, I came across one naval officer. In class 7th, I had gone to Kolaba for participating in a sports meet. And there, Kolaba is a hub of the Indian Navy. And there I saw everybody moving around in the very smart uniform. I could see this naval ships. So that was a turning point, and it was something like that. Yes, I have to join Navy. I joined College of Engineering Karad in 1981 August, and believe you me, the atmosphere over there. I mean, I had been recently, not recently, somewhere in 2018 or so. Am I right, Acharya sir, when I came and met you? So,
Yeah, I think you're right. You're right, sir.
so there, those days, the climate conditions was so good that our hostel block never had any fan. We never had any requirement of a fan, and the environment for studies of college was so good that in the evening after the classes we all used to come down to the classroom with our bag and sit for studies, sitting in the classroom for 2 hours, 3 hours, because that was a special environment. It did not have the fancy atmosphere, something like you can call it an institute of science or IIT, but it was down to earth, but a very, very studious environment right from beginning. I never wanted to leave College of Engineering Karad, but in after I cleared my second year, when I came to the third year, one of my friend, uh, he asked me to put an application for transfer to VRC Nagpur, now known as VNIT Nagpur. I did not have that much inclination. He said, no, it will be nice. He was very close friend of mine. We both will go over there and we will continue over there. I put my application. I got transferred and he did not get transferred. So in third year, I went to VRC, and my third year and final year, I qualified from REC Nagpur. But Karad always remained very close to me. It was, I mean, I always wanted that I should show it to my family. So in 2018, I took my wife and went to Karad, showed her my college, and met Professor Acharya sir that time. Many other students were also there whom it was a holiday, but there were students around. So I met them, and means I cannot forget my days which I spent over there. That sitting, going out for a cup of tea outside the gate, or in sitting in the Abu canteen, the 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 professors and the faculty staff, I mean, they were so sincere and they were so loving and caring for the students, whether it was studies or whether it was Ganesh festival, whether it was table tennis tournament. uh, I'll narrate one incident. Acharya sir, you may remember Professor Dongre,
Yeah.
and the students had so much of fear from him that they used to feel that if you try to be smart near him, you will have it. But when I remember, when the table tennis table we got in our college mess for the first time, and Dongre sir came to the mess, and I had a match with him, and he played so well, and all the students had started telling me, now you see, you will not be able to qualify. But I am telling you, I always got so much of love and affection from all the faculty members and from the college students that I can't forget College of Engineering Karad. I mean, this is my foundation was laid over there, and whatever I am today, I owe it uh, to a great extent to Karad for that.
Yes, sir. So where there is a righteousness in the heart, there is a beauty in the character. Where there is a beauty in the character, when there is character, when there is a beauty in the harmony, and when there is a beauty in the harmony, there is a home in the order in the nation, and when there is a order in the nation, there is a peace in the whole world. So thank you so much, sir, for sharing your great experience with all of us. We really amazed by it. Thank you so much once again. So for next part of our session is an interview session. So I request to Samarth and Vikram to take interview. Over to you.
Once again, am I audible, visible, Arpita?
Yes, you are.
So, good morning, sir. Once again, a warm welcome to you. And myself, Samarth Netke from first year electrical engineering.
And good morning, sir. My name is Vikram Mai from first year ENTC branch. So let's start with the interview session. So the first one is we all got to know that you had an interest to join Indian Navy from the childhood itself. So what was that one thing that pushed you to the age of to join the Indian Navy?
Like I said, when I was a student of Kendriya Vidyalaya Bhandara, first of all, my father was from ordnance factories, so there was a atmosphere of defense. Like during 1971 war, the factory which he was working, that was producing 1,000-pounder bomb. He took me to the railway station uh, at Ghaziabad. That time he was posted in Muradnagar, and when the army jawans were moving towards the border, the trains used to be full of those jawans, and at the railway station there were stalls which were holding food items, dry fruits, blankets, and the owners of those stalls were just pushing those items into the bogies. And I still get the goose pimples on me when I remember that atmosphere where the people were shouting, means Bharat Mata ki Jai, and the soldiers were so happy and thrilled. That was the first introduction to me. For the tanks were loaded on the trains, and that was the first introduction for me to the Indian Army, because that time, being in North, the Navy part was not there. When I was in class 7th at Kendriya Vidyalaya Bhandara, which is near Nagpur, from there I happened to go for playing in a inter-school competition at Kendriya Vidyalaya Kolaba, Mumbai. Now, that school was located among the surroundings of the complete Indian Navy. They had organized one visit to the naval dockyard where we could see the ships, and daily for those 3 days I used to see the people all around me, the officers and men in the white uniform, and that actually impressed me. It was a very impressive thing for me, being on the ship and seeing a ship and seeing this men. You can imagine a child of a class 7th or a 8th, how soft his mind is, our brain is, and any particular such impression can be everlasting. That's how it started, that yes, I must join Indian Navy. When I was in third year engineering at VRC Nagpur, that time this campus interview people came from the Navy, and I appeared over there and uh, means showed my certificates and all. It was during a campus interview I got selected. Then I was shortlisted for SSB. I appeared in my SSB in 1983 December at Bhopal, and there I got selected, and means never looked back. So that's how I joined Indian Navy. Uh, After I passed out, then joined Naval Academy Goa. Then from Naval Academy, Goa, we go to all engineers. They go to INS Shivaji at Lonavala. You must have heard the name Lonavala. So that is the alma mater of all engineering, all engineers. And I did my marine engineering course over there. Every engineer has to do a marine engineering course, irrespective of his branch. Either he does marine engineering or he does marine electrical, depending upon the mechanical or the electrical side. Nowadays, Navy has got another field, that is IT. So they don't do this, they straight away go to the IT thing. So after doing my marine engineering, since I had spent time on INS Vikrant, I was fascinated by aviation. So I opted for aeronautical engineering. So then I did aeronautical engineering and joined INS 300. You must have heard the name of one aircraft, Sea Harrier, which used to do vertical takeoff and landing. So I was looking after that maintenance for in some way or other for nearly around 20 years. So that's how my journey started towards Navy.
Sir, that was a great explanation. So we can say you almost pursued your childhood dream, right? Like in childhood, you wanted to become, you wanted to join the services, and you pursued it. So thank you, sir. Now my next question is like everyone has the liberty to choose the field in which they want to make career. But nowadays, people or the youth is not generally fascinated towards the defense services. They are more into the corporate lifestyle, or it is said that कौन वहाँ जाएगा? So what will you say about this, and how will you highlight this point?
Like I was telling Arpita, uh, that armed forces are looking for the candidates who have that aptitude. They like even now you would be knowing that there are shortages in armed forces. But still, when 80 candidates go or 100 candidates go or 60 candidates go for the SSB, you may still find 2, 3, 4 selected or nil selected. Sometimes the entire batch is washed off. So because I'll narrate one incident where I found that the mistake had taken place from even from the SSB. I was standing in one of the officers' mess, and those days these mobile phones were not there, and the STD phone booths were there. So there was one STD phone booth near our reception, and I found one student, one officer. He was shouting very loudly on the phone, abusing everyone, and telling that he never wanted to join forces. So a wrong selection or a wrong joining will not lead you into a very happy state in armed forces. Uh, to begin means like I when I joined Naval Academy, the moment I joined academy, within half an hour, my hairs were cut. They were cut to the root bottom, and the barber means very smartly they didn't have the mirror. So next day morning, when I got up and went for my routines, and after brushing saw my face, for a second I thought, because I also had hairs like Samarth, so I I thought what I have done. So you may find such type of small things, but see the aim or your goal has to be bigger than these small things. Coming to your question that yes, why people are not attracted. See, people want a very, everyone in this world wants a very cozy life, wants a very comfortable life. Like if I give you straight away after engineering an air conditioned office, a air conditioned car, and give you a fat salary, you will say what a life. But it does not give you the challenge. For me, I had my cousin brothers who had done engineering, uh, who had gone through UPSC, through Indian Engineering Services and all. But I used to find them that morning 9 o'clock they used to go to office, 5 o'clock they used to come back. In a routine thing, same job every day. I want to tell every one of you, not a second day in armed forces will be something like a previous day. Every day will be a new day, because every day what situation comes to you, even in the peace time, you may not have had it on the previous day. So that is itself very challenging. Like when I was looking after the maintenance of an aircraft, suddenly you find that aircraft has been in the air for 45 minutes. It should have come back in 45 minutes. You pass 1 minute more and your heart is beating because where that aircraft is. And the moment you hear that aircraft noise coming back, you feel so happy. So not a second moment is like a previous moment. And that is one big difference than a normal corporate or a civil world where Babu goes, he signs a file, every day he will sign the same file, he will see the same turbine, he'll see the same, if he's in MSEB or PWD, it cannot be the same thing in armed forces a second day. Second thing is you get to see places. Every 2 years, 3 years, you are transferred out. You meet new people. You interact with them. You come to know about their culture. You interact them with their means when you get married, you interact with their families. You come to know about their eating habits. It's a different type of environment. Uh, I just want to ask anyone among you, means you all have grown up in your house. When have you seen that at night 12 o'clock your father's friends have knocked the door and said that now we want dinner? It has never happened. It never happened with me because my father was in civil. He was in defense, but he was in civil side. Means forget. I'm not talking of the challenges with the machines or the equipment. Even at home front, the situations are different every day. So it makes you feel more and more interested. If anyone has got only interest towards money, it is not the right place. Although armed forces are, let me tell you, are the highest paid among the government services. As a class 1 gazetted officer, you are highest paid at the time of entry. It's a different thing that IAS officers, after the rank of joint secretary level, they have managed to have their salaries more. But as an armed forces servant, the government job, the salary is not less. You get a house. You in army, you get a, if you are posted in a field, you get a peace posting house. So everything is looked after. You get a canteen, you get mess. Those those perks are very different from what a person in the civil walk of life can think of. Most important part is it's a very disciplined life. Morning you will get up, you will go for shave automatically. The person will like to look clean, spick and span. It is not that he can have a shabby appearance. So it gives you a very disciplined life. And last and the most important part, whatever you have got, it is the nation has given you. In one way or other, whether you are in a college, whether you are in a school, it is either funded by the center, by nation. You are, means it is the people's money which has funded you to be what you are. Not everyone gets a chance to pay them back. So joining over there and fighting for the nation, it does give an opportunity to pay them back. There were many chances which we had, like in 1999, Indians were stranded in Sri Lanka because of LTTs. So I was posted on board Virat. We all went to pick the Indians from that place. Now, somebody who might have been maybe an executive director sitting in any particular company cannot compare with the joy which we saw in the tears of those Indians whom we picked up from Sri Lanka and brought it on our ship and brought them back home. So it is that feeling. It has to be something inside you for joining the forces for the cause of the nation. I cannot compare it with pay, perks, office, and the status which I get outside world. So that will be my limited answer.
Thank you, sir.
Oh, wow. I really got goosebumps on my body after hearing this. And I can see my juice flowing through the veins. So coming back to the questions, people are generally not aware about the army life poses or the defense people poses. So what are the adventurous moments that you captured in your uh, way out into the Indian Navy, and what would you like to share, sir?
Okay, adventure, if I have understood correctly, it is other than my routine job.
Yes, sir.
Okay, I'll give you means there were. I have traveled across from Sir Creek, which is at Gujarat Pakistan border, means across seas, down the line over Sri Lanka till Havda. I have seen each and every port in Lakshadweep and in Andaman and Nicobar. I have seen certain islands which are dream. We used to go by dinghy boats. You must have heard, you must have seen divers, or in the movies, that inflated boat, and in that you must have seen those commandos sitting in and going. uh, in those type of boats, riding the waves, you get thrown up, and then we have been to those islands, and uh, it was peace time, so we were not particular mission. We were all drenched, and means the type of enjoyment what I had, I don't think I I can't get it even if I pay in lakhs outside. I can't have that fun. There is one country, Seychelles. We went over there. There is a beautiful island over there, Prale Island. Our ship was at anchor. Sea was very rough, and again we sat down in that boat. That boat, the wave height must be somewhere around 7 to 8 feet. We were having our video cameras hanging around our neck. Our beer bottles were stacked in the boat, and we went to the island, had the party there, and came back. Now, when I see that video and think about it, I really feel that why did I risk my life that day? But when you are there at that time, the blood is running fast in you and you don't mind doing any adventure. Further, all armed forces, Army, Navy, Air Force, they have so many adventurous schemes, bike rallies, car rallies, person going around the world in boat. You must have heard the name of Commander Tommy, who went around solo. Single man, he went around in a boat across the globe. So you will get all such opportunities you have to have in you, and you will find going to the Mount Everest, the naval officers, the naval team climbing Mount Everest, the army guys going into the sea, the Air Force man going on the road. It is all such things which happen. So adventures, sports and events, I think this is the only field which has. So there is absolutely no problem about it.
So definitely, when your profession itself is very dedicated, passionate, and noble, so it's not a one incident that you would be telling as an adventure. Overall course was an adventure. So thank you for your great answer. Now the next question is, we can say it's a core question. Like you joined GCK in 1981, right?
Correct.
And you joined Indian Navy in 1986.
Yeah.
So within a course of almost 6 years, or within just a span of 1 year after your graduation, you joined the services. So when we get in, the things go with the flow. Like we don't have to think about them. But the main part is about the preparation. So were you preparing for it in your college days as well? Because there are many aspirants who are preparing for it, and even if not for the defense services, someone is preparing for GATE or MBA. So how would you highlight the point that preparation and your engineering studies?
Okay. Comparing to the GATE or any particular other entrance exam, whether for Hindustan Petroleum or for ONGC and all those exams, they have got more of academics. In for joining the forces, it is more of a psychological. So, like I was telling Arpita, I was a very I had too much of reading habit. It is not only the course books. I had a reading habit of books other than the syllabus. Whether it was novels, whether it was biographies. My passion is biographies and autobiographies of great leaders, politicians, sportsmen, and novels about the ships, like Bermuda Triangle or the Titanic and all those type of things. I was regular reader of a book called Competition Success Review. I do not know whether such magazine still exists or not, but any guy who wants to appear for any interview should for this book or an equivalent book. Now, this book used to have situation reaction test and thematic appreciation test, SAT and TAT, plus also GK. If you are a regular reader of the newspaper and the magazines, your general knowledge will be definitely far above than your other friends who are not the regular readers. Your GK has to be good, your current affairs have to be good. You should know about the current affairs, what is happening in and around the country, in and around the world. So it is, for forces thing, it is more of a general awareness plus your psychological part. Fitness part, yes, you can't be a sluggish man, you can't be a lazy man and then trying to go, because there are some sport track and field events which are held, but it is not that you have to be a 100-meter sprinter only champion to qualify this SSB. So it is general smartness, up to date current affairs, general knowledge, and those psychological tests. They are the one which are the building block. For campus interview, it is more of like everyone will ask you. The first question is why. I mean, why why do you think you want to join armed forces? That's a normal question. Like, this is a question which you also asked me, that what made you join armed forces. So similar question is the first one. In fact, there was one question which was asked to me, is that in the later part of my interview, was that what is your ultimate dream of joining armed forces. So my answer was that I want to join so that I can have a war with Pakistan and kill 5 Pakistani soldiers. So that brigadier got shocked, and he said, "Why do you want to kill people and do that?" So it is your basic instincts and basic things which are which are checked. There is nothing which is extraordinary which is checked over there.
Yes, sir. Now, SSB interview is the thing that one needs to clear to become an officer. So there are many aspirants who are going to give interview for the first time, or also there are some of them who have failed in the interview and they are going to give in the future. So what would be your guidance for them, sir?
Maybe I may sound repeating. The thing is, uh, be natural, be what you are, and your things like your general knowledge, social studies, means basically the geopolitical current affairs, your relationship with, means if you are a regular reader of a newspaper, I would say if you are a regular reader of newspaper, that shall be enough for the level of knowledge. Plus, like if I ask you what is your hobby, the questions which are generally asked are what are your hobbies, what are your interests. It is basically to find an insight as to what is your mental makeup. And like SSB, again I'll repeat, it is not looking for a super intelligent man, nor it is looking for a dud. It is looking for someone who fits into the frame of the scheme of things which armed forces people want. The officers who are there for selection, they have got a lot of experience, and they are the one who are screening. So they come to know your plus and minus. Yes, I would say there are aberrations. 1% genuine person may not get selected, and 1% who is not supposed to be selected get selected. There can be, but it can't be more than 1%. By and large, 99% selections are very fair.
Sir, you previously explained your experience, how was your SSB, and you also given some grateful tips. So this might be definitely would be helpful to the aspiring ones. So now my next question is that you did your marine engineering as well as aeronautical engineering while you were in the Navy.
Just a minute, Samarth. Just give me a second.
Okay, sir.
तेरा बैग लेकर आओ.
Am I good to go, sir?
No, Vimal. Yeah, please go ahead.
So you did your marine engineering as well as your aeronautical engineering. So this was question which we framed yesterday, but you explained about it a bit earlier that you did both in Navy. So was it your part of interest or it is a course that everyone has to follow? And how did being an engineer yourself, you are a mechanical engineer, right? So how this thing helped you in overall course?
Okay. Like as I told, every mechanical engineer has to do marine engineering after joining Navy, because on the ships you have to look after the ships. So basically, the marine engineering course is there, in which it was 1 year course plus 6 months practical training on board ship. So I did that. My practical training was on board INS Vikrant, that time the only aircraft carrier. So when I was on board Vikrant, it was a steam ship. So there were 4 boilers and turbines, and they used to create so much of heat. And I used to see the air operations, because the aircraft used to operate from the deck. Now that fascinated me, because you have maintained a machine, a fighter, it goes in air for nearly 1.5 hours, comes back and land at sea in mid ocean of 200 nautical miles off from the coast. So it used to be a great fascination. So marine engineering was a compulsory thing which everyone has to do. Aeronautical engineering was my choice, that I opted for aeronautical engineering, and then I did it. So, but your mechanical engineering, which I did in my college, that is the basis, or rather the foundation, on which I could develop the marine engineering and the aeronautical engineering. Because like for example, noise and vibration, something which you come across whether in aircraft or whether in marine engines, the foundation would have been laid while studying mechanical engineering in your college days.
Okay, sir, we have gotten a basic idea about how mechanical engineering helped you. So now, as of now, since the last 10 years, you have been working in Aerospace Logistics Limited UK. So you have experienced both the defense as well as the corporate life. So we have got some of the audience from the who wanted to focus their career in the corporate life. So what would be your advice for them?
Uh, I joined this side after having a 26 years of experience in Navy. The transition for me was little bit simpler, because my last appointment which I was doing in naval headquarters was aircraft acquisition and the aircraft spare parts acquisition. And so I was a buyer that time. And I knew the business. I came to know the business of procurement of the things. The company which I joined after retirement is selling the same thing to the world in different countries, and in India to Indian Navy, Air Force and HAL. So my transition was very smooth. Not with, because this was also one of the company with which I was dealing before. So I knew the entire procedure or the process which is followed for selling items to Navy. Not everybody may have that chance, because it is not necessary that you are transiting to your other field only. But the armed forces teaches you the biggest thing. The most difficult management is the man management. You can manage a machine with your knowledge. But to manage men, you need to have your conduct and behavior. Means, please don't take me otherwise. Among your student groups, you may find some student whom everyone likes or whom everyone is ready to listen to. And there might be some student, the moment he opens his mouth, everybody wants to condemn him. Similarly, even among the professors, when the students who are doing agitation, like going to strike or opposing something, there used to be always some professors, the moment they used to come to the students group, they used to listen to them. But some professors never could approach the group. So man management is one thing which forces teaches you to core. It has to, you already have the behavior and the conduct in you when you are joining the forces. But that is what is polished when you are there in the academy. And when you come out, they say that a boy joins an academy. When you join the officers academy, it is called that a boy joins the academy and a man passes out. So it's a transition from a boy to a man. So it is the man management which is so important in conduct of any enterprise across the globe, which makes you a good manager or a bad manager. Because there it is not your technical knowledge, it's your behavior and a conduct.
Sir, so your defense as well as the corporate job was somewhat similar. So the transition was not much difficult. And the main thing that forces teach you is the how you can adapt to the environment. So for you, it surely might have been much easy. So the next question is, the college is the place where we learn new things, we explore our abilities. So you might have learned various things in your courses or your throughout your profession, but college also gives you the life lesson, which are definitely helpful throughout our life or throughout our journey. So what are those life lessons that you would like to share here? And what are the things that you learned in college, apart from your academics?
Yeah, see, when you, first of all, when you stay in a, there is slight difference between the day scholar and a hosteler. Hosteler becomes, or rather, he becomes independent much faster than a day scholar. Ma doesn't wash your, means you have to wash your own clothes, you have to look after yourself, you may get fever, you may get some injury, you have to look after yourself, you don't get pampered the way you get pampered at home. Ma is not there to ask you if you, whether you have had your food or not, so you have to, so this is one aspect where hostel makes you little bit independent, which a day scholar may not find it so much in his life. So I don't blame them. It's a situation. I happened to join hostel, and that's how I was a hostler. So I picked it. But I think first of all of us as a student need to become a little bit independent. That is one. Second thing is the camaraderie among your friends, how each one of you help each other in the moment of crisis. That we learn it during college days. Somebody doesn't have, somebody was sick, has not come to college, attend classes. It's a very simple thing. He asks you, can I have your notes? There might be one selfish guy, a selfish boy who will say no. But there might be so many must be there so helpful. Yes, you take my notes. I would say yes, I became selfish for one reason, that I did not allow anybody to topo my sheets. That sheets what you used to draw, because the quality of the sheet, when you do the topo with that bulb light, the sheet used to become yellow, and the professor used to say you have done the topo. So once after doing that, I used to say you can do the transfer, but don't topo my sheets. So it is that mutual helping each other which develops the camaraderie. Somebody gets injured, you help him. Somebody is sick, you try to get him meals, fruits. So it is that type of teamwork which further grows as you grow up in your age, which definitely was built at the hostel level and the college level.
Yes, sir. So as of
Okay,
now,
sir.
we are missing all the joys and the experience that you explained, but we'll sure make the best out of it, and we are eager to see you in offline mode as well. So Vikram, you can continue the next question.
Yes, sir. I too feel that hostel is the something where one becomes an independent fasterly. A team builds over there, and you get to work in a team. So my next question is, you are the oldest alumni who has been connected through syncing GCK to us. So what are the educational reforms that you have been experienced since the time you were in the college till now?
You are talking of this institute, or you are talking of in general everywhere?
In general, in general.
Okay. See, there are some things which are good, there are some things which are bad, which which to my mind have happened. Uh, we did not have any phone. Forget about mobile phone, we did not have even a phone. Everything used to be letters. And we used to write letters to our parents, wait for their reply. So our writing ability, our expressing ability was more than the present generation. This is what I feel, because I see in my domestic environment, my son, my niece, my nephew, the young the young officers who joined in front of us. Because like, I'll give you an example. When we used to hear a commentary on the radio, and it was like Sunil Gavaskar had hit a shot across the point for 4 runs. Now my brain is working that where that point is located, and I'm imagining that what is happening. So, and if I am telling to my friend that Gavaskar hit a 4 across extra cover, I am explaining him how he did it. Whereas presently everything is so visual. Everything is available on the mobile, on the screen, on the net, and everything. I feel the imagination power, the imaginary power has got little bit affected. That is about the technology part. Reading habits have come down. We used to be reading more. People nowadays are seeing more. So when they are seeing more, they are also seeing some wrong things. Whereas in reading, a wrong thing was very less. Second is, in the college setup, I have gathered from my because my nephew and niece and they all have done engineering now. I found that their industrial trainings have become more now. Am I right?
Yes, sir.
So the classroom, like even after third year, he is going for industrial training. he after second year also there was one attachment. Final year complete, and I'm talking of the institutes right up till BITS Pilani or any other institute. 6 months of them they are attached to a thing. Now, to my mind, college classroom teaching is far more important. During that break, summer break time, we used to have industrial training. It was excellent. But it should not be done at the cost of cutting off the classroom sessions. So that is my feeling. I may be wrong. That means because I am not an educationist. If educationists have made this, they must have definitely thought over it. But when I compare it with my period, the type of attention what we used to give to listening to the professors and then making notes, trying to understand and do that, because when you go for the industrial training, the training staff over there does not necessarily remain with you throughout. Majority of the time you are up to yourself. It becomes more of a fun, less of a classroom instruction. So that is my feeling about the present day's development. I may be wrong. I mean, everyone may have a different opinion.
Sir, as you said that nowadays the industrial visits or the practical knowledge is gaining more acknowledgement and gaining more importance. So I think the fast moving world is also a part of it because they need to update themselves accordingly. Like after every 2 to 3 months or 2 to 5 months, the technology is updated. So even humans need to update themselves. So it's completely fine. Like everyone can have a different opinion. And the point that you mentioned that you you used to express better, like writing letters and waiting for the reply. So that was the point that would be nostalgic for you, because nowadays expression or the telling of feelings is just a matter of few emojis or stickers. So that was point you mentioned greatly. And now we are done with the main questions. Now a last question. That last question is like your opinion or your thoughts or your ideology that you would like to tell everyone here, not just for obviously for defense services as well, for defense aspirants, but in general overall. What will you say?
Just yesterday itself, uh, my means me and my son, we both are in the same office. So while coming back from office, we were sitting and he was watching a video of some particular TV series or OTT series, what is being there. I heard a very good line. Means I was not watching that serial, but suddenly my attention went to that statement, and I would request everyone to note it down. Life is 10% what happens to you. Life is 10% what happens to you, and 90% how you react to it. And 90% how you react to it. I repeat, life is 10% what happens to you, and 90% how you react to it. And after going through my say 56 years of my life, I'll be 57 on this in this December. I heard such a beautiful line that even I would have faulted sometime by overreacting to some situations or something. So, in if all of us can imbibe this, that we have to control how we react to a situation. There there might be a situation where a group of boys are fighting. One boy will join that group and start fighting. One boy will join the group and try to solve it or try putting them away from each other. So such a apt line that it is 10% what happens to you and 90% how you react. That is one. Second thing is abide by law. Whether it's a traffic rule, like one-way traffic, a simple thing. You may find some people even driving Mercedes for a distance of 50 feet or a 50 meter, he will drive in the opposite side just to save fuel. If he is having a car, he has got all the money that he can spend one drop of fuel and take a U-turn and get onto the right direction. So abide by law. If each one of us abide by the law, you will not have problem. But we try to take shortcuts. When we try to take shortcuts, we land up in difficulties or problems. That is one. Try to help your friend the best you can and be honest. If somebody is asking you help and if you can't, be honest enough to say, sorry, I am not able to help because I do not have this resource. But if you have and if you can help him, help him. If you have and you still don't want to help him, be honest enough to say that for so and so reason I can't help you. Honesty pays the maximum, discipline pays the maximum, abide by law, the culture which we have in our nation. uh, Many of us do not want to follow law. The simple thing is, in the present pandemic corona, you will find people not wearing mask. मुझे क्या होगा type, मैं बीमार नहीं पड़ूंगा. But a simple mask putting across your face does not harm you at all. So it is that following of the law, I feel that is the key to, or following of the rules and regulations of wherever you are, whether you are in classroom, whether you are in college. I'll tell you one thing, till the time I was in Karad, I never bunked a class. I never ever bunked a class. It was such a nice environment that I didn't miss a single class when I was in Karad. But in Nagpur, when I reached, I found the atmosphere in such a way that if the class is, if the students have decided to bunk the class, they would not allow others also to sit. So that used to happen. But these are small things which I remember, which I could follow. The most important thing is time. Be always there in time, whether you are going for watching a movie, whether you are going for watching a theater or a classroom or a party or anything. If you are in time, you have won 50% of the battle. Like I was feeling bad today that I committed about 9:30, and then because of some domestic thing I was feeling that I'll get late, so I wrote down that I'll be able to make it at 9:40. So time is something which is very important.
Sir, as you rightly mentioned, that I'd like to highlight your 4 points that you mentioned. That time, we should respect time. Then the honesty, that we should not take the shortcuts. That was the one point that you mentioned. And then you mentioned about okay, so the overall the ideology or the thoughts you explained were really helpful. So now we'll move to the question answers, the questions that participants has asked us. So the first question is from Arpita Dake, that can you tell us as a defense aspirant how we should develop our daily activities in order to build officer-like qualities?
Sorry, I didn't get it.
Oh, okay, sorry. So the next first question is from Arpita Dake. She is a defense aspirant as well. So she is asking that how on our daily basis can we develop the officer like qualities, because this is something that SSB generally looks into.
Okay. Before I answer Arpita's question, I'll ask you, Samarth. Uh, means before that, I'll just say that not all students, when they join the college, are from the same background. Whether it is a socio background or whether it's an economic background. Each one of us, when we join college, are from different backgrounds. You may not dress up in a new cloth or a new pair of dress every day. Not all of us are Tatas and Birlas. But we can always go in a clean washed pair of dress. That we can do. Like I'll tell you, means I never went to college in Hawaii chappals. I used to see many students going in Hawaii chappals, and that was not an artificial thing which I used to do. It was inborn, and I am talking of the students who had the best of the pair of jeans and the best of the things during those days, but to show that yes, they are casuals and they are dadas, they used to go in Hawaii chappals. I never wore a torn jeans. I never wore a jeans to go to college. And jeans was the thing during my time. If somebody was wearing a pair of jeans, it used to be looked at as if that guy is very smart. I I somehow never had any liking for a pair of jeans for going to college. And when you are talking to each other, be respectful for his dignity. Be human. Even when you talk to a peon, do not talk to him as a that tomorrow you can be a professor in this same college and he will remain a class 4 employee. You respect his dignity. You respect his job. These are some things which I would say uh, the things which you can develop in your college days. Because once you wear a uniform, there are separate pair of officer-like qualities. But during the college days, you can try and develop this. Treat human being as a human being, not by his status. You will find a sudden change in approach. You may find that same steward who's giving you a plate of a idli or a cup of tea. If you treat him with dignity, he will look at you with respect. So these are the things which I can share with you.
Yes, definitely that the personal decency and the personal discipline is something that we should look for, and respect in our attitude. Respect should be in our attitude and behavior. Thank you. So the next question is from Digambar Mai, that as pandemic hits the world and also some countries facing flood situation and heavy rains, first thing that those tragedies was in mind as rescue operations and restoring. How you look at those situations as Navy officer to serve the people who really needs the help in this critical point?
Digambar, you must have noticed every time you would have opened a TV set, you would have always found that in the flood situation or in the earthquake, the first people who are called to provide aid are the armed forces personnel. it is closest to our heart because one is as per our rules and regulations. There are clear guidelines which are laid down saying aid to civil society. You may like Satara. Satara, you may know there is lot of army unit over there. The district collector has the powers to call army in the need of crisis, and army is duty bound to provide them the help. So in the need of floods, you would have seen it was only paramilitary forces or armed forces. You wouldn't have seen even your civil police providing any help. One is because they don't have any equipment with them. Second thing is the sense of discipline part is not there in the civil police as much as paramilitary forces or the forces. So you would have always seen armed forces coming in forefront, helping in any such adverse situations. Even COVID hospitals, even in a place like Delhi, armed forces made a temporary hospital of 1,000 bed for COVID patients. So they do play a big role.
Yes, sir, because when it comes to management or managing the people or the administration, the that time the local police comes to forefront. But when the disaster management or the building that you said the COVID hospital, those are generally took from the defense side, right? So the next question is from Ram Krishna Gholar. That he says that, sir, I was selected for SSB interview, but my English was not good. That's why I did not attend the interview. So he was selected, but he didn't give the interview only.
I will advise you two things. One is, if I know that this is my weakness, then my first thing is I need to improve it. That is first. I'll give you a simple example. Just now, you must have seen on your civil engineering board a gold medalist, Suresh S. Bachche's name, who passed out in 1985, civil engineering. You must have seen his name. He just retired on 31st July as executive engineer PWD from Nasik. He was from a village called as Savarde. He was my roommate in second year engineering. And I did not know Marathi. I am a North Indian. He knew English how to write, but he didn't know how to speak. So we both got into an understanding that he will speak to me in English and I will speak to him in Marathi. He will correct my Marathi, I will correct his English. Within 6 months, I could speak manageable Marathi and he could speak manageable English. Second thing is, read books. Present days, you have on mobile such beautiful applications of pronunciations, of how to pronounce a word correctly. That is one. But now I am coming down to the most important part. If to the question what he has put, you should not have shied away from the interview just because you did not know English. It would have been much better. You would have attended the interview, told the officer, sir, मेरी इंग्लिश बोलने में उतनी अच्छी नहीं है, मैं आपसे हिंदी में बात कर सकता हूं क्या? That officer would have respected your thing and he would have spoken to you in Hindi. That is one. But you should appear again Yes, you should improve upon your conversation English, because whether you accept it or not, it is a worldwide thing now that English is the medium of business. It is not somebody's language, it's a medium of business. Whether you like it or not, it is a fact. So try speaking it out, try reading it out, and correct it. But at the same time, never feel shy. If you do not know, if I like, you won't believe, I started watching Marathi plays in Karad to learn Marathi. I still remember the movie Gondalat Gondad. Acharya sir will remember. That movie I saw 3 times. I did not know Marathi, but I was trying to pick up. So learning a language, you should have a fascination for it. But please attend interview and never feel shy to say that you do not know a thing. Tell the person on the other side, I do not know this. Can we talk in this medium? He will feel more happy.
Yes, as you said that we should not be running from the challenges. We should overcome them. Even if we are not able to overcome them, we should at least face them. So that was the point of view. So then the next question is that it is said that defense aspirant must be calm, composed, and balanced during the SSB and even in his life as well for getting the positive results. So in what ways can one develop these qualities while in college?
I would say that you can't develop such things overnight. These things are grilled in us during our academy days. But during SSB, whatever you are, SSB judges you what you are. So be natural. Be absolutely natural. Do not try to put an artificial face over you. And the things which I told you about, that situation appreciation, thematic appreciation, and the GK, that itself will build your mind in such a way that you will start reacting to situations differently. That will help you.
Question much before, while you were answering the second question, you mentioned a book, something book. So can you repeat the name of the book?
I was talking about competition success review.
Patient Success Review. Okay. Okay, thank you. And now the last question is that if not in defense services, then what should be our plan B?
No. I would say the plan B. I would say do not get disheartened if you are not able to. Like, I'll repeat, Mr. Amitabh Bachchan failed SSB 3 times.
I'm not aware of it. Sorry.
Like I told, Dr. Kalam failed SSB 3 times. Amitabh Bachchan failed SSB 3 times. There are so many great people in this country who have failed SSB. So please do not feel that if you fail SSB, you are a failure or a rejected person. Sorry. It is only like, I'll ask you a simple question. If you have a round hole and you have to plug it, can you take a square plug and put it in a round hole? No. It is SSB is exactly that. It has got a particular size of a hole. It is selecting the candidates who fit in those slots. If somebody is triangular, not able to fit in, he will not take it. Somebody is circular, not able to fit in, he will not take it. So it is the picking up the right block, right plug to plug a right hole. That is what it is. So there is nothing like plan B. Second thing is, yes, if you still want to join a uniform service, you have paramilitary forces, you have Indian Police Service. You can join them. So there are paramilitary forces. There are means CISF, BSF, uh, such as the Seema Bal. So all these forces are there, which you can join as a uniformed personnel also, and contribute to the nation in the same way.
Thank you, sir. As you said, like everyone is unique in their own way. So even if he is not selected, then destiny might have planned something else for him. That was good, good point. So now we'll come to the faculties. Like I would like to ask Dr. Anil Acharya, sir. Is he here? How was the session, sir?
Yes, Samar, thank you. Thank you. Shalabh sir, really it was a nice interaction with you, and actually you guided the students how to behave in an assertive way, because nowadays what we are missing in the society is a person having an assertive approach, that what he knows he should say he knows, and what he doesn't know he should say he is not knowing. But unfortunately this kind of habit is not observed in the society. So you rightly pointed that all students should be assertive, and basically you right from your beginning you stress on discipline. Yes, disciplined life is certainly going to give them success. And as you said about the plan A, plan and all, surely whenever you are motivated for a good work, certainly maybe you will not be able to reach your goal, but at least you will receive some another gift, which is because of the hard work you have done for it. Surely, sir, I'm happy to be part of this session. At the same time, I'm observing that quality of questions by students is really improving. Certainly, the kind of lectures we are arranging from experts like you is influencing to our students, and really they are becoming are thinking more. And I think, or rather, we all know that Swami Vivekananda ji always used to say, the youth will be great power if he or she starts thinking, and that is what is happening in India. And surely with the guidance from people like you, will develop these kids and will make this nation a strong nation. Thank you, sir. Thank you from me.
Thank you, sir.
Acharya sir, that these were great reviews by you, and thank you for your regards. Now I would like to call Dr. S.K. Patil sir. Is he here? What will you
Hello.
say about?
Hello, good morning, everybody. Hello, good morning, everybody.
Good morning, sir. Good morning.
Good morning. Sir, it was nice session. I'm proud of the alumni, like sir, who are ready to guide our students. I'm very much thankful to sir to sharing his experiences. It was a nice session. Thank you to thanks are due to you also, Acharya sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you all.
Thanks for your regards, sir. And now I would like to call Dr. Kumar Wad sir to give his opinions. Is he here?
Yes, good morning. Samarth, I'm audible.
Yes, sir, you are audible. Go ahead. Thank you.
Okay. So, good morning, everybody. Saxena sir, a very good morning. We are proud. You are our proud alumni work with Naval Defense Department of Government of India on a top position, and you are guided good guiding to our students for coming into this defense department, defense of India. So this is the ocean of opportunities. So always naval department advertise themselves ocean of opportunities. Really, it's a ocean of opportunities to work in the ocean. So this is a proud moment. Our students will get selected in the future, upcoming future, and get a biggest, highest job in this type of defense department. Thank you to Saxena sir and Dr. Acharya sir also, because he picking the gems from the our alumni list who are on the top of the industry or in the government department. Thank you, Acharya sir also, and our Dr. Precious sir also, because he is giving the opportunity to take this pleasure to convey the messages from the alumni to the students. Thank you, Samarth also, because you are very good interacting with the this Saxena sir, and communication also you people improving. Just Saxena sir also said his partner from his roommate. He learned Marathi from the roommate, and that person, the alumni, our alumni, learn English from Saxena sir. This is the what we call environment. We have to create the environment for the communication. So this is the good idea you are given to our students. So at your time, North Indian students or South Indian students are very much in our college. But nowadays, government policy, there is a unfortunately there is a policies of government of Maharashtra. We are not adding the North and the South Indian students in our colleges. If that students added this type of communication, this type of opportunities, what is going on in the North, what is going in the South, that will be helpful to the
Yes.
different cultures. We mix the different cultures, so that is very important. But that is the we cannot do anything. That is a part of government of Maharashtra. Anyway, I am very thankful to Saxena sir. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
Sir, as Kumar Bhatt sir said that Saxena sir gave a great insight about the ocean of opportunities, and surely this session was helpful. And now it is done from my end. I would like to thank Vikram, who is not right now here. So we are done with now. Now I would like to call Sonali to present the vote of thanks. Thank you, sir. It was a great session.
Thank you.
Am I audible?
Yeah, yeah.
Hello, my name is Sonali Kashid and I am from FY Electrical. I, I hope you all enjoyed this session and Josh might be running in everyone's nerve now. It's really a matter of pride for me that I am sharing a vote of, that I am presenting a vote of thanks in this meeting. First, on behalf of my colleges and the entire community, I would like to thank our respected and honorable guest, Dr. Commander Saxena sir, for his vital time, for removing his vital time from his busy schedule and to grace this meeting and for sharing a graceful opinion with us. Your talk must have inspired the aspiring one or overall everybody. The tips and insights you gave are definitely helpful. And you also told us how adventurous is the life of defense servant. And you also told us importance of time. I would also like to thank our principal ATPC for giving unity for this session. I would also like to thank Dr. S.K. Patil sir, Dr. Anil Acharya sir, and Dr. Kumar Bhatt sir for their support and guidance. I also like to thank to our Thinking with CK team and the participators because of whom we made this meeting possible. Thank you. Once again, thank you so much, sir, for giving us your precious time and for sharing your experience. Thank you. Jai Hind.
Thank you, Sonali. I wish to convey my sincere thanks to uh, Professor Acharya, Professor Patil, Professor Lakshman for those kind words. And like I said, College of Engineering Karad will always remain very close to my heart. It was my first college. It was the first place where I came out of the lap of my parents and I started my life. And but I'll tell you that I am really impressed with the way the students today presented their questions and they presented themselves. I am shocked that Samarth is from first year. Am I right?
Yes, all coordinators, they are from first year, sir.
Means
Today, those
to-
who all who speak, they are from first year.
I'll be very honest, we were not like this in the first year. We all became something like this in our third year and final year, when we started getting aware of the things, and this is what technology has brought. And I once again thank all the students for a patient hearing. Even if few among my listeners join the armed forces, I'll be more than delighted, and I look forward to see many of you in uniform and to be with the nation always. In whatever place you are, whether you make it to the forces or not, always remember, whatever you do, in some way or other, you are contributing towards the nation building, and keep doing that. That's all. Thank you. Jai Hind.
Thank you, sir. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Definitely, it was a great session. And here I would like to conclude that today's event is ended. Let's come to an end. Thank you, everyone, for joining.
Samarth, record, stop the recording.
Stop the record.